Hello, Tamara Green here for A Course in Miracles, lesson number 27. Okay, we're going to work on our kidneys because, believe it or not, the organ of our kidney or the organs of our kidneys actually can hold anxiety. It's a great way to release anxiety. All right, so they're located between middle and lower back. So tapping anywhere between your lower and middle back really can help here. So what you're doing is you're using your flat palm, tapping. Kidneys really like this. Make sure you're breathing when you do this. And sending lots of love to your kidneys. I love my kidneys. You could do it softer if you want, that's fine. It still has a positive effect. So 10 more. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rub. Okay, very good. Reach out. And exhale. Really, next time you're feeling kind of anxious, try it. You may want to try that. Just tap and do it 100 times or so, or at least 50, and just notice. Notice any shift that you may have in your body. And before we get started with the lesson, I really do want to credit the wonderful centers. They're called Brain and Body Tai Chi Yoga centers. They're not only just around the United States, but they're around the world actually. And I've learned so many wonderful techniques and breathing and Tai Chi and yoga from them throughout the years. So I'm deeply, deeply grateful to them. Okay. So, A Course in Miracles, lesson number 27. Above all else, I want to see. Today's idea expresses something stronger than mere determination. It gives vision priority among your desires. You may feel hesitant about using the idea on the grounds that you are not sure you really mean it. This does not matter. The purpose of today's exercises is to bring the time when the idea will be wholly true a little nearer. There may be a great temptation to believe that some sort of sacrifice is being asked of you when you say you want to see above all else. If you become uneasy about the lack of reservation involved, add, vision has no cost to anyone. If fear of loss still persists, add further, it can only bless. The idea for today needs many repetitions for maximum benefit. It should be used at least every half hour and more if possible. You might try for every 15 or 20 minutes. It is recommended that you set a definite time interval for using the idea when you wake or shortly afterwards and attempt to adhere to it throughout the day. It will not be difficult to do this even if you're engaged in conversation or otherwise occupied at the time. You can still repeat one short sentence to yourself without disturbing anything. The real question is, how often will you remember? How much do you want today's idea to be true? Answer one of these questions and you have answered the other. You will probably miss several applications and perhaps quite a number. Do not be disturbed by this, but do try to keep on your schedule from then on. If only once during the day you feel that you were perfectly sincere when you were repeating today's idea, you can be sure that you have saved yourself many years of effort. Wow, that's big. One moment of sincerity really does have a huge impact on your life, so that's great. All right, so using yesterday's example that I gave. I was talking about how I felt so abandoned and left by my parents, but mostly my mother. And so today's idea, above all else, I want to see. And so I reached a point in my own personal growth, through meditation and yoga and therapy and personal growth courses, that I wanted to see my mother differently. Now, at this point in my adult years, I was only communicating with her through mail. I wasn't having phone calls and I wasn't seeing her. We lived in different states at that point. She certainly tried many, many, many times, but I felt like the only way that I could communicate with her was by mail only. I needed it to be very controlled. But the truth is what I kept going to about her is that she ruined my childhood, or my parents ruined my childhood. And even in my adult years, I was still feeling very lost and unfulfilled and unhappy. I didn't know who I was, and I was scared, and I was in a lot of fear, and I still blamed her. But the more and more I was diving into my own, inner world and personal and spiritual growth, I realized, this is not helping me to view her this way, but it's also, maybe it's not even true what I'm telling myself. I keep bringing my past into my present life. And that's not only not fair to her, but it certainly wasn't fair to me either, because I just kept perpetuating a lot of pain and fear. So when I first read today's lesson, Above All Else I Want to See, it reminded me of years ago when I said, I want to see my mother differently. I want to envision her differently. I want to envision us actually having a really calm, peaceful, wonderful, loving relationship. And at that time, it was really hard to imagine. And in the lesson, it talks about, maybe there's a fear that there's a sacrifice involved. And I did believe at first that there was a sacrifice involved. I would have to sacrifice me, I would have to invalidate myself in some way to be in a relationship with her again. But even that, I realized, let me even see beyond that interesting thought, that interesting belief that I have. And sure enough, the time came after 13 years of not seeing her or talking to her. I did. I decided it was time to see her, and flew, back to my home state and saw her for the first time. And literally, we looked at each other and we saw each other differently. She saw me differently. I saw her differently, with like a whole fresh new pair of eyes. And it's like we left the past behind and we just met each other in that present moment and then took off from there. And I'm very, very happy to say that we ended up having an amazing, wonderful, loving, fun, we had so much fun relationship together. And so I really see the benefit, above all else, I see the benefit of doing this exercise, especially if you can do it every 15, 20, or 30 minutes for today. All right, I'll leave you to it, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.